Hello everyone. We're just gonna wait a few minutes for people to join, and then we'll get started at like the next 5 minutes.
Hold on. Jump. Jeez. Good job. Good job. Good job, Ben. Huh? Good job, Ben. 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 Whoa. Oh my god. అందరూ తను ఏం చేయాలన్నారు
వెయిట్ చేయమన్నారు అంతే
Okay.
All right. It's been a few minutes. If more people are gonna join, I'll just admit them as we go on. But I think we should probably get started. So today's lesson is gonna be taught by Patrick. Anyways, yeah. So I'll let him take it away then.
All right, guys, just starting off from where we left off last time. Just a show of hands. How many of you guys like did the homework problems? Like, it's okay if you didn't. I just want to like kind of get like a gauge of how many of you actually like did the problems. So if you could just like type in chat if you like did it or if you like stuck on something.
Understand. You know?
Okay, I guess I'll just go over the homework problems. Just so you guys can know. So where Arin left off last time is here. And this is just class 1, so yeah. Write a program that outputs programming is fun. So if you guys have your Replit open, it should look like this right now. I have a question. How do you join your GitHub? I don't believe you need a GitHub to like GitHub account just to like view a repository. For example, as you can see, I'm not currently on an account. If you want to set that up, I recommend just like watching a YouTube video, but it's just completely like you don't have to. I feel like it'd just be easier if you like didn't have it. Yeah. Yeah, I can actually send a link right now. It's on the slides. Yeah, good question though. I just want to look at that. This is also where we will be posting like all of our, like video links. So if one of you guys joins late or like missed the class, then you can just like watch the videos there. All right. So back to the problem, which is practice problem 1. And it says, make a program that outputs programming is fun. So open Replit, which Arin should have helped you guys set up last time. If you don't know, if it's not working for you, just like raise your hand or something. All right. So programming is fun. So always make sure to include using namespace std. That's going to make it a lot easier. So you don't have to, without you would have to write this every single time. Like you don't want to have to write that every single time. It'd just be much easier to include this at the start. So it should look like this. And see out. And what you can do is just pretty much copy and paste this. Just copy and paste. And then do this. And of course, you have to put an end line at the end. Well, I prefer doing this, to be honest. So I don't think Arin talked about this last time, but what this does, this is basically the same. So endl. This is basically the same as this. So if you don't really want to have to type this each time, what I like to do is just do this. And what this does is it just creates like a blank line at the end. So back to the thing, programming is fun. This should be the code. If you run it, programming is fun. Okay, that is the first problem. And we go back to the second problem, which will be number 2. And it says, make a program that outputs the number 5. Now, there are 2 ways of doing this. But from what you guys learned from the last class, I'll just teach you the first way. But after this class, you will know how to do it the other way. Okay, so pretty much just what you got to do is number 5. You just change this basically to 5. Again, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand. I'll be happy to answer that. Number 5 here, and you run it. And number 5. All right, so back to the presentation. So again, this is our GitHub. If you want to access like the homework problems or just the recordings, if you miss a class, just go here. Okay, now we're going to talk about variables. So in C++, a variable is a storage location that holds a specific data type. And I'll explain what a data type more is later. But they are just stored, they just store data and they can be accessed when you execute the program. So just to show of hands, how many of you have had experience with Python before? And it's fine if you haven't. So you can just type in chat if it's like, yes, you have had or no in Python.
Kinda.
That's fine. I just wanted to kind of make a comparison because in Python, when you declare a variable, it's different from how you would do it in C++. So I can show just an example here. Okay. All right, so let's pretend this is Python. Like this is not Python, but let's just pretend it is. Someone raise their hand, you can speak up. I think your mic is muted.
Okay, now, how could you is there like any way to make a program but really fast?
Really fast?
I mean, I meant like the most easiest way. Is there one?
I mean, the easiest way would just be to use Replit because when you open, like, I'm not too sure what you're saying. Like, just like how to like start the program fast or. Well, I guess that's just the thing about C++ is that C++ executes around, I'm not sure too much how it is, but it executes a lot faster than Python. So if you want to do like competitive programming, for example, and you want to submit a piece of code, if you write that code in C++, it's going to be a lot faster. Like the execution time will be a lot faster than if you write it in Python. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I get it.
All right. Yeah, that's just the benefits of using C++. So really there's like benefits and negatives to both languages. You know, Python has easier syntax. So like, okay, so this is Python right now. And let's say I want to like make x equal to 5.
Yeah, boy.
So I just say x equals to 5, and that's it. Like that's really all I have to do in Python. It's pretty simple. It's just like this. If you want to do in C++, you can't just do that. See, if I try to do this, if I say x equals to 5, you're gonna see this like red squiggly line under here. And what it's telling you pretty much that you can't do that. Like this isn't gonna work. But the reason is that when you declare something in C++, you have to specify what type it is. And there are many different types. I'll just cover a few of them, like the most commonly used ones. This one isn't really too relevant, so I'll just say it. I mean, I really just like wouldn't even use this at all, to be honest. You basically use int and long long. So how do you know which one to use? Like, okay, these are just for numbers, like numbers without decimals. So you're probably wondering which one, like when do I use which? How do I know? Well, you want to follow this guide that I have here.
Hey, what?
If your number is in this range, you can use int. if it's within this range, which is pretty big, so I doubt you're gonna have a number like bigger than long. You're gonna use this long. The reason for this is that int can only store a specific number. It only has a specific size of memory that is available to it. So if you try to store a bigger number, it's not going to work. You're going to have to use something like long. Now going back to what I was talking about before. So int's basic integer type. So number 5. That is obviously a pretty small number. So we aren't going to have to use long. Integer, that is fine. Integers for like small numbers. 5 is a small number. We can use that. So what you have to do before declaring a variable here, before x, you have to specify a type. So just int. And you see now it works. And you're going to have to do that with pretty much everything when declaring a variable. You're going to have to just declare the type before you specify the variable. And I'll just show an example with long. So let's say I want to declare like a big number, and my number was like so this is a pretty big number. And if you use int, it's not going to work. It's going to like integer overflow. What that basically means is that if you have a number that's too big for integer, it's going to do something called overflow, which is why you have to switch to more compatible data type. And that's going to be long here. Now for decimals, we have two things you can use. That is called float, and then you have double. So it depends how precise you want the decimal to be. If you want to be really precise, then use double. If you want to use float, it's going to be less precise, but honestly, for most numbers, float is going to be fine, unless you want something to be really, really precise. Personally, I never use float. Like I always just use double just to stay on the safe side. So, I mean, that's what I would recommend if you want to just use double like all the time. You can kind of ignore this. Like, you can pretty much ignore that if you want. So, for example, let's go back. Okay. So integer is for integers, and if you've learned in math class, then integers can't have decimals at the end. So let's say you have something like 3.6 or 3.5. Again, you're going to see this kind of squiggly line like at the bottom, and that's going to be an error because integers, 3.5 is not an integer. You cannot do that. That's why you got to use double. You can use float too. Like if I put float here, see it works perfectly fine. Float can handle this much accuracy. But if I just would prefer just using double. As you can see, double works well. I think it's always just better to stay on the safe side because some numbers or some decimals, double can handle, but float can't handle. So, and then we have character or char. Char is basically short for character. So if you want to declare just like a single character, for example, like, okay, the alphabet, let's go with the letter A. And you want to char. Okay, so of course, as I mentioned before, you have to declare the variable or declare the type before the variable. And here's the important thing to know. If you are going to declare a char, then you most likely are going to want to use these singular quotation marks. Okay, so I mean, I'll talk about more about this later, but if you use char, I think it's just better to use singular. Like, you see this? Like these singular. Don't use like the try not to use. Although you can still do this, I would just prefer using like, don't use like these double quotation marks. And then we have, I'll just skip to the string class. String X. Okay, so if you have a string, is basically more characters. So a character is one, string is more than one. So that makes sense if you like think about the name. Like a string, that's a string of characters. That's gonna be more than one character. So you can't, and for string you cannot use these singular. So yeah, I'll just summarize it. Try use this or use this for a string. Use this. Or use the double for strings. So as you can see, it works now. Now here's something I want to mention, that you can, for a character, you can treat it like a string, but for a string, you can't treat it like a character. So this is what I mean. You can see that here I have the letter A, right? You could, that's considered a character. Like that's just one letter, that's one character. But if you put double quotation marks around it, you can treat it like a string. Because like a string is a string of characters, and technically one character, that can be a string of characters technically, even though it's just one. So you can treat characters like a string. However, you cannot treat strings like a character. So this is a string. Like this is a string, pretty obviously. And if you try the character, again, you're gonna see that red squiggly line, and that's saying no, you can't. ABC is not a character, that is a string. And I guess this just provides another general rule when you're working with Replit. It's pretty neat because, well, almost all like compilers do this, but if you see this red squiggly line, like something like is flashing underneath it, like it's underlined, then you know you've done something wrong. And if you hover over it, usually it'll tell you what it is. Like it says cannot initialize a variable type char with a value of constant. So that basically means this is length 4. And a char should be length 1, therefore you cannot use it. So let's move back to string. All right. Okay, so now you're wondering, okay, I know all the data types, like I know string, char, integer, long. But what if like I don't want to have to type that? Like I don't want to do that. Like I just want to like be able to like make a variable without having to like specify what type it is. And well, luckily there is a keyword in C++ called auto. And when you use the auto in front of a variable, the compiler is basically just gonna initialize, like deduce the type of variable for you. You're not gonna have to like explicitly type out what type it is. C++ is just gonna do it for you. So here's an example. So again, this is back to the example, string x equals ABC. But what if I don't want to type string? Like, what if I forget if this is like a string or a character? Like, what if I don't remember? Well, just type auto. C++ just does it for you. Auto technically means automatic, so it is like, you don't have to do anything. Like, this works perfectly fine. There's no errors or anything, so that should be good. All right. Okay, now we're going to talk about outputting variables. So in C++, you can output using the cout, which I believe was talked about last time in the previous class. And here's something that's new. So I think it's better to show you guys. So So before in the previous class, you learned about typing hello world, and this is how you do it. Again, I prefer to use endl like here. You can use like if you want, like you can do that. But I think like this just looks kind of weird. Like I don't really like having this here. I mean, it's really up to preference for me personally. I like this. Okay, but what if you don't want to what if you don't want to type this here? What if you want to type it somewhere else? Like, okay, let's make a variable x. It can really be anything, just a name. And I'll just say auto because I don't want to have to type what type it is, and I'll just set it equal hello world. Always remember to use this symbol at the end. You don't have to use it for this header, but pretty much for everything else, you're gonna have to want to include this. So it's different from Python. In Python, you don't have to do any of that stuff, but in C++, you do. So now, the variable x stores this value, and therefore I can just replace this with x, and it's gonna work perfectly fine. See? Works perfectly fine. And yeah, really both ways are the same. It doesn't really matter which one you use, although in some cases one might be easier than the other. So it's really up to preference for now. So as I mentioned, this basically is the same thing as this. We already talked about this, and okay, so for some practice, I want all you guys to log onto Replit and make write a program that's going to output your name and your age like this. So for example, if your name is Bob and you're 5 years old, then you would do Bob's age and then just like this and then 5. So I guess I'll leave you guys to it. Just let me know if you have any questions. This is just going to be some practice so you can remember what I taught you. I'll give you guys like 3 minutes to complete this, and I'll just give you guys 3 minutes, and I'll get back in 3. Okay, so just to check in, how is everyone doing on the problem? Like, were you guys able to complete this, or are there any questions? Just feel free to speak up or type in chat. Uh, yes, you raised your hand.
We don't know why. I don't know why, but when I like press replit,
Mhm.
I already downloaded it, but now I gotta rebuild it.
Rebuild
I
it.
don't even know why.
Like, I mean, it's fine if you can rebuild. It doesn't really take that long. Like,
And it's actually loading for a long a lot.
oh,
So I can't really get into the question.
um, for now, I guess. Have you tried like making another one, just like another one separate to that, or
Sure.
you can try that? I guess. Yeah, it'll be fun. I guess. Just how is everyone else doing? Like, have you guys were you guys able to do this, or you guys need a bit of help? Feel free to let me know.
So like when I put my name in, it shows a error, and I can like when I enter run, it says an error, and your name is like it doesn't come as spot. My name is my age.
Okay. I guess I can just kind of give you guys a bit of a hint. So, as we learn about variables, I would recommend just using the keyword auto, because you can do string. Like, your name is obviously going to be a string, but I would just recommend using auto for now. Name equals. You want to use the double quotation marks and then put Bob. And then you can do auto age. Let's say 5. All right. So just pretty much copy this based on like your like what your name is and how old you are. And then okay, I'll just leave you guys to see if you can figure it out from here, or if you need a bit more help. I'll give you guys like 2 more minutes. Okay. If you guys could just let me know your progress, or if you guys like figured it out. Mm. So if you just, I guess if you've like done it, you can just type you finished it in chat and just to let me know. Finished. All right, good job. Almost. Okay. Finished. Good job, guys. I'll guess I'll just for like those who haven't completed, I'll give more around like 20 seconds or so before I just kind of like just give the answer or just the code. And after this class, there will be some homework problems that I have assigned. If you want to do it, you can. Like, you don't have to do it. It's pretty much optional. I would recommend doing it just because, like, writing the code down actually like helps you retain the knowledge. I feel like just listening, you're gonna probably forget the stuff. So that's why I just recommend doing it. But it's completely your choice. Okay, I can go over the answers now. So Bob's age 5. Let's name. Okay, firstly, we got the name here. And also, okay, I guess there's something kind of tricky about this problem is that you'd have to write like Bob's and you have to include kind of like the S at the end. So what I'm just gonna do, I'm just gonna create like another add-on, and it's gonna be equal to what? So what this does, you're gonna add this onto your name, like the single quotation mark and then the S. So add on, and then so you want to have this. You want to have the age space this space this. So what I recommend doing is just you're gonna want to space and then age space this and then space. So this is gonna match up pretty much with what is given here. There's a space age space this and then space. So age space this space this. And then at the end you can just age. All right, so let's see if this works. And as you can see, this works. Bob's age 5. And I guess I think what's nice about using variables is that if you want to change this, like if you want to change the information here, you don't have to like change anything here. Like this long thing, like you probably don't want to change this long thing. Like you want to deal with something easier. So let's say your name is not Bob anymore. You can just change these variables up here. So you can leave this alone, which is good. And then you can leave this alone. You can leave the add-on alone. Just change these. So if you're like 50 and your name is James 50 years old, and then run it. Okay, run. As you can see, I didn't change anything here. I just changed the name and age. It works fine. All right. Right, now we're going to talk about type conversion. So let's say you want to like convert between types. Let's say you have like an integer or a double and you want to convert that integer to a double. So for example, let's say you have like, let's just remove this. Let's say int and then number or integer. Let's say 5. And then you have double. And then let's say decimal number. That's equal to, I don't know, 10.10 or 10.0. Or actually, let's make it not something 0 because that, okay, 10.7. And you have two ways to do this. Implicit conversion. So that happens when it's just automatically one type is converted to the other. You don't have to really explicitly use any like difficult syntax. You can just convert it to one thing. So for example, here, let's just copy and paste this. Or so this is implicit conversion. So you just, well, I'll say double.
I don't know why this happened, but when I put in Bob's age 5, I got like a big error. I don't know why.
Like Can you like maybe type in like in the chat what exactly like your program is? Like just you can.
Let's see, how do I get out this error? I first gotta take this over here. Huh? It doesn't delete it. Oh my god, it's not even.
Okay, I guess we can continue. So this is implicit
How
conversion.
do we make it that small?
Yeah. And let's see what this says. So you declared something. You declared an integer and you said 10. Okay. And you're like, okay, I want to have a double here. And that double, that's going to have just the value of this. So, oh, I spelled it wrong. All right, so it just says 10, and that is to be expected. This is a double. It can handle decimal points, but you raise your hand. Any like issues you have or something?
I don't really understand like how to use int.
Okay, so you pretty much just type int at the beginning of your variable name. Like, you just type int here.
What? Int? So I typed in int.
Yeah, you type int and then the variable name. So variable.
Wait, I don't know why, but when I just like clicked int, I didn't do anything else, and and now it's showing me like a equals 5.
Equals 5. I mean,
How
you should
that
if you just type in int like this, then like you will get an error. Like if you just type in int like this, but you might not be like you have to like assign it to a number like x equals 5. Like if you just do this, then there shouldn't really be any problems. But if you just like type int by itself, then you will get an error because
will this work?
yeah. Try this program. Just try this program and let me know if this works.
What? I don't.
So have you like figured it out or? Oh, our call ends in 15 minutes, so I guess I'll leave you to this. If you have any more problems, just type in chat. But for now, we're gonna just move on with the lesson. So we talked about implicit. Now we have explicit. So what you have to do is you have to make a specific syntax, and that is known as static cast. It's pretty annoying to type out, but that's just how it has to be. And what you're gonna notice is that here, I think I'll show you before. So this is implicit.
I do not even know what I'm doing, but first I wrote int, and then I took the int that is beside the main, and when I like put it with the int that I already wrote, it showed like 2 ints. So like just deleted one of the int, and
Mhm.
now and then first from like A, B, and then C, and now it's gone. I don't know like what I'm doing. I don't know
Um,
what is going. Oh my gosh.
okay, so I guess just try like typing this like exactly, like just like type this exactly, and it should like just see if it works for you.
It's so hard to find. It's like I think I gotta. Oh, that works. Great.
Works. All right, that is good to hear. If any other of you guys have any questions, feel free to speak up. So now I'm just gonna move back. Now this is explicit conversion. Here, what explicit means is you explicitly have to type out this to convert it. So let's just copy and paste this. All right. So let's see out num int now. And so what do you guys think is gonna happen? Like we have a float here. Well, let's just say double. Like I don't really like floats, to be honest. All right. Let's go double. Double. So you're explicitly converting the double to an integer. And I mean, I guess it's maybe a bit different from what you'd expect. So what? Okay, so it outputted 10. Now, I mean, you might be expecting that it would give you 11, right? Like, but I think I'll make it okay, hold on. Okay, so you might be thinking this is kind of weird because we have a double here and that's 10.9. And now we're explicitly converting that to an integer. So you would expect that this is 10.9 and we're going to convert it to an integer then. This should be it should be converted to like 11, right? Because 11 is like 10.9 is really close to 11. It should round up to 11. Like that's how it works in math class. But actually, no, in C++, what Statcast does, it pretty much emits the decimal. So whatever behind the decimal point you had here, like this doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if it's like even this. Yeah, like even if it's 10.99, that's so close to 11. But if you can still static cast convert it to integer, nope, it's not going to be 11. Static cast just pretty much cuts off this entire thing, so it's still going to be 10. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's not going to like follow the rounding rules. It's not going to go to like the nearest integer or whatever. It's just going to go to whatever is before the decimal point. All right. Well, hope that's understandable. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. So
I don't understand how to use int. Seriously. Hey,
again, okay, I'm just gonna make a comment here. Make sure to remember that it does not round to the nearest. Yes, you raised your hand.
is there an easy way to use int? Like a very easy way?
An easy way. I guess you don't have to type in int, as I mentioned before. If you just think of any integer, like
Yeah, I
don't.
did.
Okay, so just type in auto. Like this is C++ will automatically convert into integer. So auto x equals 5.
So auto.
Yeah. So auto C++ is gonna automatically, like, it'll automatically
I
detect
pressed
that.
auto. Okay, clicked auto.
Right. And yeah, this should be working. It's gonna output 5. Like, you don't have to type into anything.
I don't know why, but for you it shows. But when you click auto, it shows x equals 5. But for me, 8 equals 10.
Did you type in 10?
No, I just wrote auto. That's all.
Well, you can't just type auto. You have to also like assign it to something. So okay, auto like doesn't automatically like do everything for you. It just does like a part of it. Like auto, it automatically like turns it into an integer. Like C++ can do that for you, but it can't like automatically like give you everything. So you would have to assign it to a variable first.
Gotta assign it.
Yeah, that's how it works in Python as well. I mean, technically, you can just if you don't wanna assign it to something, maybe you're not sure.
Oh my gosh, how do I use that?
Okay, maybe we'll talk about this next meeting, but just for now, just remember you have to assign it like this. Okay, like just typing auto, like this is not gonna work, as you can see, like, yeah. All right. As the meeting is coming to an end, I think we have covered quite a bit. Again, this is just one homework problem I created. I think I'll create 2. I think 2 is going to be like the standard for every meeting, but this is just homework problem. If you want it, you can. I'll just give you maybe like 3 minutes to see if you can do this. And yeah. Since the meeting is coming to an end, I guess if you have any questions, like feel free to shoot us an email. We will be happy to help. Again, if you don't know, our email is just codeunity2024@gmail. Just make sure to send us an email there. But for now, this will be something to do. I will assign another one. Make sure to check our GitHub like right after the meeting because I will be assigning the homework problems and then the answer key. So if you do complete the homework problems, you can check that like the answers to see if like we did the same thing. Like the code might not be exactly the same because sometimes there's like different ways of doing the problem. But if like I guess if like the output is like similar to what's shown on the screen, then you did do it correctly. Is there any questions, like any final questions or thoughts? I guess you can maybe give feedback as to whether like if this meeting was like taught at like the right pace or if you think I went too fast or like went too slow when explaining stuff. Like we could use like the feedback just so that like we can improve in the future. Just like if you could type in like whether you felt like my teaching pace was like good or too fast, just in the chat. Teaching pace was good. Okay. Again, there's gonna be like a rotation. Like every week, it's gonna be a different instructor. So the last week instructor that was Arun Johar. This week it's me, and then next week it's gonna be Slope. It's gonna be someone different each week, and then it's gonna be a 3-cycle rotation. That's just how it's gonna work, and yeah. So any questions on this, or I guess you guys can like work on this after class if you want. I'll be posting the answer key again pretty soon. So you did it. All right, that is good to hear. Okay, I'll be posting like another homework problem. Like this is homework problem 1, and I will be posting another problem soon on GitHub. So again, make sure to after the meeting to check GitHub if you like want to do practice. I'll send the link again. And that will be it for this class. I hope you have a good day, and you're free to leave if you don't have any questions. So thank you.